Hey guys, Nick Wheeler here again at Wheeler Custom Knives. So this is going to be the second part to the guard fitting videos. And the first one we left off with me splitting the removal tool in half, which wasn't supposed to happen, but this is actually just going to be a temporary tool. And that was 4 or 5 years ago, so it worked out better than it probably would have seemed in that video. So had some issues with some of the video that I shot and stuff, and so kind of threw me off track. But I've been working on the knives and trying to get caught back up on the video here, so I think we're good to go. I'll show the tool that I made to replace this, which was more what I had in mind to begin with anyway, and we'll just get right back into showing how the guards are fit and roughed in. So let's get started. Start this off by showing the original one. Like I said, it was temporary, so I didn't even do a full weld on these. As you can see, I just tacked the handrail pipe in place. And this was a block of alder, and I had bored holes in here with some Forstner bits, and there was actually some rubber gasket material that was cushioning the wood when I was driving these off. And basically, because those blades are so massive, one of them was a little bit snug when I went through here, and that was really what split this apart. And you know, so it was no big shock. I mean, I wasn't thrilled about it, but it didn't surprise me. So for it to have lasted that long was actually sort of a pleasant surprise, I guess. So that's the old one, and let's look at the new one. Okay, this is the new tool I made for pulling the guards off. This base plate is 3/8 inch thick plate, and then these two legs that come off here are 3/8 thick by 1.5 inch angle iron, and I did a full weld all the way around the base of each one, and so it's very, very stout. Of course, they're on the same plane with each other, and I spaced them about 1/2 inch apart. And then these top plates are some scrap G10 that I had, and I did recessed holes and bolted those down with 1/4-20 screws. And then the whole thing is bolted to this new workbench with 3/8 inch bolts. And so this thing is very stout, and it's not going to split in half like the block of alder did. I wanted to take a minute and point out how trying to share your methods and techniques with other people, how sometimes that can help you learn yourself, because it kind of makes you stop and question something that you do that you hadn't questioned before. Like I said, the last guard removal tool was a quick and dirty, like temporary kind of thing, and even though I used it on a lot of knives, until I actually was editing the videos for part 1, and I saw myself driving the guards off here, I didn't realize how awkward this was. You know, because the stand itself is about chest height for me, and then by the time you stick a blade in there with 4.5 or 5 inches of tang, I was, you know, my target for the hammer was like shoulder height, and I saw it and was like, wow, that looks really goofy and awkward. How did I not ever realize that? But I really didn't until I saw it like that, and that made me think, okay, that should be different. And so then when the block broke, I was like, well, definitely going to change that. And so the new removal tool is actually probably about 4 inches or so below my hips. So by the time I get a blade in there and I'm driving the blade away from the guard, I'm up low waist height. So this one is a much more comfortable height. It's much easier to use, much less awkward, and it's just being at this height alone is a major improvement over what I had before. Now, driving the guards off, you have all this contact with the tang, and sometimes you end up with you either cause some ripples in the edges of the guard, and or you can actually raise some burrs on the tang, depending on how much you drew the tang back and how hard or soft you work with the 416. Now I like the 416 to not be, you know, butter soft. I like it to have a little bit more hardness than that. And then I drew these back quite a bit, and so you can raise a bit of a burr in here, pulling that off. And I just take my Fordham tool with a Kratex wheel, and I just go back over that and kind of buzz it, and that's where you can see that the way that light changes right there. That's what that's from. And then I will resand the face of the guard and make sure that we take any ripples out of here and have it nice and flat and a nice clean smooth finish. These are something else I wanted to point out. I had some people ask me on the last video, they said, well, why did you use a milling machine on that slot and then start filing it? Well, that would be a good question, but I wasn't actually filing the entire slot. I was just cutting in the shoulders, and I'm using these safe edge files. And what that means is this side I surface ground, so there's no teeth on that side, and so I'm actually only cutting with the teeth on the edge, and you need one for each corner, because you know, this side has no teeth on it either. So I can bump this side and this side into the guard material and not cut anything. But since I actually have teeth on this side, that would be for this corner. I can file that corner in sharp, and that's not cutting anything. And then when I go to do the other corner, I need one that has teeth on the other side, and it doesn't matter if it has teeth here and no teeth on the back. So hopefully that clears that up.